Valentine's. You are watching and, of course, listening to Tags Live, aka Talk About Gay Sex, the live edition, where we are here every Wednesday night. We are your Valentines tonight. This is episode 541. I am your host, Steve V, alongside partner in crime, my lover for tonight, Kodi Maurice Doggette. How the hell you doing, Kodi?
Hello, darling, my lover. Hello. Happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day, and to everybody else watching.
Oh, I got on my pearls. I am trying to look like one of the French girls that Jack paints in Titanic. I'm just, trying to feel my romantic fantasy.
I love it. Well, we want to hear from you watching us live tonight. What does Valentine's mean to you? Are you doing anything special? You are, because you're watching us live, so we really appreciate that. It is Valentine's Day, and we want to really always show love for our listeners, and we really think that. I got some really good special friendship Valentines this morning, which was really nice, and a lot of people forget that the day after Valentine's Day is Friendship Day, if you will. But a lot of people show it on the actual day. It is a made-up holiday, if you will, just for shits and giggles. But that being said, I've gotten into it. A boy that I am seeing here, we're taking it like really slow. Wished me a happy Valentine Day this morning, and that was a really nice thing to wake up to, so I really appreciate that. How did you wake up to Valentine's Day? And I heard something about risotto.
I woke up in bed. I won't say who's with me in bed, but I woke up in my bed, and I'm having a lovely Valentine's Day. I went to the gym. I spoke to a bunch of people and wished them happy Valentine's Day. My mother, of course, one of my really good friends. Well, a couple of my really good friends. I forgot to text you though, Steve. I feel so horrible. I should have texted you, but I knew I was going to see you tonight. So,
well, thank you for reminding me about your mom, because I need to call my mom right after this call.
Yes.
Because I told her I would, and I totally spaced on that, and so she's going to be like, "Hello, not the good son over here."
She's on the West Coast, so it's 3 hours, so you're good.
She is on the West Coast, exactly. And, a lot of people spend it different ways. We were talking about some creative ways that you could spend 19 ways on episode 540, how you could spend Valentine's Day that weren't the traditional way. And we got some people writing into us. And let's just start with a mutual friend of ours who's actually going to be doing speed dating tonight.
Yeah.
Which I know you've done speed dating. I've done speed dating. I've talked about it on this show. First of all, do you think that's a really good thing to do on Valentine's Day? I mean, you might find your lover of all time, but I don't know. I'll tell you why I don't think it's an...
Go ahead.
Yeah. Do you think it's a good idea?
You're probably going to be kissing a bunch of frogs on this evening when you go on speed dating on Valentine's Day. But this friend of ours, they were saying that they wanted to do something romantic, and we're both hosting a show, and other people could make it as well. So they just decided they wanted to go speed dating. They wanted to do something to feel the love, and I get it. So I'm happy for them. So go out there, look fabulous, and get your best romantic life. That's what I have to say, as long as you're happy.
I mean, I think it's a really cool thing. I think it's active versus just sitting at home. And I think it's a really proactive thing to do, because you're going to be with other like-minded people that also thought it was a good idea to meet strangers and talk for 5 minutes and move over to the next person. And it's very, I don't know, duck, duck, goose, if you will. I did it in the summertime a few years ago, and I had a really good experience, although I went on a couple dates, but none of them came to fruition as something that like I was going to ultimately see this person. But I did get a good friend of mine out of it, a friend that know via my speed dating. And he has turned out to be one of my very special friends. In fact, I think after the show, I will reach out to him and wish him a happy Valentine's Day, because he's just so special to me. And we weren't in the same group. We actually, because the way they divided it up was 35 and under. And of course, I was on the 36 and over
Mhm.
category. So we just talked in the interim period and really got along. And to this day, we still hang out. And that was 2 years ago. So I think it's a really good thing to do. I'm not sure, it could be a fun thing to do. I just think when anybody does something proactively, you get my seal of approval.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. When I did speed dating, I don't know if I took it that seriously. I was in Philadelphia, I was in my 20s. So I don't think that it was something that I was necessarily looking to find love with. It was just something to meet people. I had just moved there. So it was fantastic. It was a good experience. I don't think I even made any friends out of it. Definitely not a boo thing, but it was just a good experience. It's good to know people, and it was fun. It was a good time. So, good luck to everybody out there speed dating tonight.
Bryce says, watching us live, happy Singles Day. Okay, I love that as well. Happy Singles Day to you. And Chris, who watches us, thought he'd write into us and share after episode 540, when we were talking about some unique things that you could do. Chris wrote, "Hey Steve, something fun for the Valentine's Day night for the cooking at home." Remember, we were talking about how what a cool thing to do would be to cook at home. We have ordered some sexy, fun aprons and cooked
Ooh.
naked and made it more sexual that way. I'm all here for that because if you remember on episode 540, I was so into the idea of cooking together. It's an activity you can do. You're not in a restaurant. Maybe you put one on sous chef and you
Mhm.
put somebody on the more protein, if you will, and maybe somebody reads the recipe. But could you imagine though how sexy that would be to be in sexy aprons, but your butts are out? And
Yeah.
hey, I'm kind of
I
into that one, Chris.
I'm gonna have to borrow your that apron that I know that you have and have my butt out while I while I cook, or I could just cook risotto because you mentioned that I cook risotto for this evening, Valentine's Day. I just cook it in a jockstrap. I had on a jockstrap. I should have just stripped down.
Right, and in the BDSM community, which by the way, if you notice the flag I'm wearing and it's got a heart here, it's the BDSM flag, which shows pride for BDSM. And it's got another heart, excuse me, another heart over here. But one of the
Aw.
things that's cool about it is they have aprons in there, leather aprons. And
Ooh.
yeah, I'm about to go on the Vakaya cruise starting this weekend, and I might just pack my leather apron, and that would be a cool
Yeah.
way to cook naked. And what would be fun? I think you have to cook up something sexy. Risotto would be a good one, I think. I think. But is there a lot
Yeah,
of cream in it,
there's a lot
Cody?
there's a lot of cheese, there's a lot of
Oh
what are they
no.
butter and olive
Mm-mm.
oil. You're like,
I am
"Oh,
not
no."
doing all
You
that.
you're reminding me of have you seen that Michael Jackson meme where he was like, "Oh, come on." "Oh, no."
Oh no.
"Oh, come on now." Hilarious.
Exactly. Oh my god, so much fun. And lastly, music has been coming out this year like gangbusters, and everyone's talking about Beyoncé and her new country music. Of course, Taylor Swift announced she has new music. I, of course, am seeing Madonna and March 2nd in Vegas, but shout out to my old favorite, one of my favorite artists of all time, Lisa Stansfield, who was on BBC Radio 2 today, earlier today, and announced and sang her brand new song. And I loved it. It's so good. And that was such a great Valentine's Day special for me. So really excited about that.
Love
So
her.
yeah.
She did tell us she was coming back. "Someday I'm coming back."
She did.
So
Exactly.
I'm
Oh my
excited.
gosh. Absolutely. Okay, well, let's stay on listener responses. And, we have a new show that we've been going all season long. It's called Of a Certain Age. And one of the things, we just wrapped up season one, and season one has 15 episodes. And to describe Of a Certain Age, if you haven't given it a listen to, it's our where we go a little bit deeper, where we do an interview with special guests. And special guests, we've had people like life coaches on the show. We've had a person that talking about stretch wellness. We've had things, mental health. We've had things like travel experts on the show, on and on and on. And this week, episode 15, we have a very special guest that Deanna, that we really loved. Deanna Koska, talking about her brand new book, Becoming More. You can't get better until you get to different. And let me tell you, I will be listening. I'm going on a plane ride tomorrow. I'm going to re listen to this because there were so many important things that she said. I actually re listened to these episodes because they are life lessons. And I wanted to read something that Rich wrote into us. Thank you so much, Rich. He wrote, "What a beautiful conversation on Of a Certain Age. Congratulations on your first season. Cannot believe as it went way too quickly. Thanks to you and Kodi for a job well done." And we thank you so much, Rich, for that, because this has been a labor of love. Kodi has sung the theme song Of a Certain Age, and it really has been a labor of love. What can you say about it? And then we'll tell people where we're going with the show.
Yeah, definitely such a labor of love. Of a Certain Age is has been an outlet for me, really. I didn't even know I needed it. It has made me think about how I want to build my life, what my life, what's important to me in my life and what I want to strive for and just so many things to building a beautiful life. It has made me reflect on that and it's made my life better and I'm so glad that we're receiving such a positive response from people, so many kind and thoughtful comments, and that we got to share ourselves and and make people more aware of these beautiful people with all their brilliant ideas. And I'm just so happy that people are responding well to it. We'll definitely be back for a second season and hopefully even further than that, because with the response that we're getting, I just can't see any other way to go.
Love that. Yes, it truly has been a labor of love. And Alan watching us live says, "Tags live, boys. If you have not listened to Of a Certain Age, listen to it. It's so good. Great guest. You guys read my mind. Oh, when you asked your
Oh,
questions, the theme song is great too, Kodi. Get it on Spotify." Yeah.
yeah.
I'll let you address that. But what you're maybe give a little insight into what you have in store this year.
So I am moving for a couple months just to get things together and to write music and record music. Hopefully by the end of this month, I will have something out. So I'm working on it. I was supposed to be a surprise for Steve, but I mean, I'm going to let it out right here, right now. By the end of the month, definitely by the beginning of March, I'm going to have something out, just like a little single, a little snippet. But I am going
Hey.
to, unfortunately, with the Of a Certain Age theme, there were some issues with like copyrights and stuff like that. So that won't be on
Right.
Spotify, but I'm thinking about releasing it to SoundCloud. So yeah, cool.
I love it. So, Of a Certain Age, OACA, Owaka, like we like to say, is available the first season, 15 episodes. And listen, if you are new to it, haven't heard about it, listen to it now because by the time you finish all 15, we will be back with season two. So, we
Yeah.
are really excited about it and we're gearing up for a really exciting season a little bit later this year, though. So, stay tuned for that. Okay, well, we love it when you write in and we love it when you want advice. And I was really struck by this person that wrote into us because it's something that maybe we don't talk a lot about, but it got me thinking, very Arsenio Hall. And
Things that make you go, hmm.
hmm. They wanted advice and they wrote, "Hey, Steve, Cody, Jeremy, and Lincoln. Well, you just got Steve and Cody tonight, but this is Joel, and I've been listening to your show since the pandemic, and it's definitely makes my 30-minute work commute more interesting. Thanks for all of the work you put into keeping me and your listeners entertained and informed. We appreciate you putting yourselves out there in what is sometimes vulnerable ways, and it doesn't go unnoticed." And thank you so much for that, Joel. I really appreciate that because that's why we do this. They had a question and they wrote, "How do gay men, now hear me now, how do gay men afford, quote unquote, the gay lifestyle? I make a decent salary, they wrote, well above the national average, but I don't see how the gays do all that they do. Trips to Puerto Vallarta, Fire Island, P-Town, gay clothes, drinks at bars and cover charges, brunches and fancy dinners, circuit parties, gay cruises, sex supplies, concerts, and a nice place to live where you can host even a modest party. I like reading it that way. I don't know why, but I'm doing
It
okay.
was
But
great. I enjoyed every second.
I'm doing okay, but I can by no means do it all while making smart decisions in terms of saving and retirement, investing. I grew up poor, so the fact that I have what I have now is kind of a miracle. But still, I actually live in a cheaper city, Houston. But wonder if there's some gay fountain of money that I still haven't found yet, especially to those who live fabulously in places like New York, LA, or San Francisco. I'm sure you're going to say it's all about balance, but it just feels like every gay is able to do so much than I feel I should do. Or do I just need to stop whining, find a job that makes over 150,000 and start an OnlyFans? I feel like he's writing to me. How does one live their most fabulous gay life without declining so many invitations in the name of financial well-being? Joel, there's a lot to talk about on
So
this.
much.
Bryce says it's
Would
called
you like to?
crowdfunding and coupons. I used a
Right?
coupon today, actually. I'm part of CVS,
Hmm.
their thing. And every once in a while today, I got 30% off because I am going on a Vakaya cruise. But don't ever think, like, if you hear me talking about a lot of these things, like I talk a lot about going to Puerto Vallarta, well, that is because my sister bought a place there, and I'm a co-host with her, and I benefit from. I was helping her out left and right. Even today, we had to write reviews and stuff like that. But I do benefit in not having to pay for a place now when I go, and think of it as my second home. And when we are there, I am not out every night. I am not, we actually are working. We enjoy it, but that's kind of how I've been able to go there so much. Vakaya, if I was to be 100% honest with you, I have collaborated with them in various forms many different times. And in fact, I'm helping them out with a project right now that has to do with podcasting. And that's why I'm able to kind of, you know, work with them. And
Yes.
so that's one of the reasons too. And so I think the one thing that it can seem like, how do you keep up with the Joneses, if you will,
Hmm.
is if you're looking at social media, that is just what people put out there. And everyone's always putting their best foot forward and making look like there are some people that are living that life. But I think, and especially if you go back to our of a certain age, and our current episode 15, she talked exactly about this issue. She says that when you put your emphasis on what other people are doing and you start
Hmm.
comparing yourself to other people, and I'm assuming, Joel, you're doing this with social media, that's when you start getting into these ruts of, oh my gosh, I'm not like them. What did she say, Cody? We need to stop comparing ourselves to other people and start comparing ourselves to what our potential could be. And I
Yes.
can't
So
believe I
good.
remembered that, but I
I
remembered it.
you asked me, and I
You
was like,
need
I
to
have no
start
idea.
comparing yourself. You need to start comparing yourself to the potential you can be. And that's a direct quote from Diana, that we had on our show. And that is kind of how I have to remind myself a lot of my times. And it's why I don't spend a lot of time on social media, because I think you can go down that rat hole of, wait a minute, these people are doing this. You never know how people are doing what they're doing or getting where they're going or putting on a front,
Hmm.
and what life is really like. And it could seem all rosy and amazing. I just think you need to find out what's important to you and focus on that, versus comparing yourself to other people. And know that when people put out, there's a lot of smoke and mirrors out there,
Yep.
just a lot of smoke and mirrors. Cody, what do you have to say? And we can discuss a little bit more, but
Oh yeah. because this I feel like there's a lot here.
Yeah.
I agree with you. Social media is something that you should not be comparing yourself to because a lot of those people on there, they are not really living the life that they portray, which I know you said that, but I think it bears repeating. Also, if they are an influencer on Instagram, a lot of that stuff is free. When we went
Yeah.
to Puerto Vallarta, we our entire stay there was paid for. So I think that a lot of the things that you see on social media, they're not necessarily footing the bill for that. Now, I do know people that have certain side incomes, say from a sugar daddy or albeit something like that, that pay for that is the only thing that I can think of that would afford people to live such a luxurious life. So I think that there is a lot of ways for it to go down, and not everything, don't believe everything that you see on social media.
I think you're right. There's other ways that people could be affording these things. And the other thing to consider too is, and we probably will be talking about this more in season two of A Certain Age, is looking at our LGBTQ finances and saving for future timeframes. Because
Mhm.
while I am totally guilty of it, the gays love their concerts, and we have just come out of a pandemic, and immediately every diva on the planet decided that they were going to go on tour. So
They
it was
want all our money.
Beyonce, Taylor Swift, Madonna, on and on and on. And eat Janet, all of these tickets are super expensive. We know people that have gone like five, six times. I know people that practically used all of their, I think it was not their paycheck, but they used like this bonus that they got, and
Mhm,
they got really creative. And while I love that, and I am so guilty of doing some of these things too, I
mhm.
think what we'll look at in our newer show is, well, that's amazing, and we should really be living life to the fullest every minute that we can. But maybe can start talking to people on the new season of also taking stock of our income and looking out for our futures as well as a community, because maybe that hasn't really been instilled in us and built in us. We are very much, I think we're a young community, and we're a young community that wants to live in the moment. And sometimes that means if Beyonce is coming on tour, we're going to that. If Janet's over here, we're going to that. If the club says we need to be there, we're going to figure it out, and we will figure it. We are very savvy community.
Yes.
But the question is, do we maybe need to start also thinking of our futures and what that could look like down the road? I mean, what do you think of that, what I just said?
I totally agree with you. I think that I'm writing it down in the notes right now that we need to have somebody on of a certain age that knows how to do financial planning because again, it's something that I don't think it's instilled in this community as far as the United States is concerned, like on a general basis. Because I think a lot of people don't know how to manage their funds. And it's unfortunate because I feel like that should be something that's taught to you in high school because how else are you going to figure it out if you're not taught how to manage your funds? I also think that I wanted to bring up the fact about the the concerts. I probably won't be purchasing a ticket to any concerts. If I do go to a concert, I'm getting a free ticket again. So if you see me at any concert, I am doing it on
Well, you wanted
on
to go to Janet
on a
Jackson with
budget.
us. Does that mean that you want us to buy it for you?
Yeah. Oh,
Because I'd be
I
on a
wanted to
budget.
mention something to you.
We'll talk after the show.
Okay.
People have
Crowdfunding,
a
just
lot.
like
Joel, I'm really
just like
glad you
Bryce
wrote into
said.
that. Yeah, what are people saying? Because people had a lot to say on this.
People are saying, did you already read the crowdfunding one? Oh, yes, you did. Alan says, don't we gays ask ourselves how we do it as well? He's always broke, he says, but he lives his best life. And Bryce says, additionally, remember that apps create the illusions of these activities. I can be in my bedroom and effectively appear like I'm in a Speedo at the beach. Alan also says he had to choose his
Ooh.
diva. He can't afford them all, so he chose Janet in July, and I wanna be
Oh,
a
that's the
Janet
one.
July too. Somebody call me with a free ticket. And Malibu says, "Managing finances is a top priority." No pun intended.
Wow.
Yeah.
I love that. Um, it's an interesting and I thank Joel for actually writing in because no one really likes to talk about money
Nope.
and but it's important that we do. And if you base everything on what you see online, I often put it down too because, people are putting I'm guilty of it. I'm putting my best foot forward when I'm about to go on a Vacaya cruise and I put you'll be seeing a lot of that. So,
Yeah,
you
as
know
you
what I mean?
should. If you I feel like the reason that so many of these trips and things of that nature come up on Instagram is because that's when you are having fun. That's what you want to remember. That's what you want to share with people. If I'm in my bedroom in my underwear, I don't want to okay, yes I do. I share that on Instagram all the time, but it's not as exciting as being on a trip or anything like that.
I hear you. I hear you. I love it. Okay. Somebody else have anything else to say before we move on?
Bryce wants us to go into detail about the our gym memberships. Mine is $20.
Gym memberships. That's,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I am just to be really like so I'm fortunate enough to live in this building that has a gym in my
Mhm.
basement. And so I work out there. I don't spend and Cody and I are lucky enough that we have a co-host, Lincoln, that
Mhm.
will often invite us to his class and he puts us on. So, there's a lot of work in the system and working,
Yeah.
people
And
are inviting us to certain things and it's yeah, but we do a podcast. We also have a Patreon that you could support us too and sponsors when we're about to have some this is something that I just heard because last year I was at a podcast conference and they said, we're about to release some really new sponsors. And when you hear our sponsorships, I trust us that we tried it, that we wanted to work with these sponsors. If you feel inclined, support those sponsors because you'll get a discount on them and you'll only be helping the show out so that we can continue to do what we do. So everything's a hustle. It really is. And,
yeah.
you
And
know, go
yeah,
ahead.
gays don't have kids, so we gotta hustle, and we also don't have that added expense too. So there's a million ways to get around a lot of things and to live your best life, your best gay life.
Exactly. Joel, I love that. Thank you so much. Okay. Well, we got to follow up on a story where we were talking about recently where the Seattle, Washington Liquor Board they were going into BDSM bars like the Eagle, and there was another type of BDSM bar. And the liquor board was actually I don't know, they were actually looking at what people were wearing, right, Cody?
Mhm.
They reviewed it, and at the time, we were wondering there was laws against you cannot show your chest or buttocks in these bars. Well, a lot of people complained on it, and a regulatory board in Washington is doing a policy U-turn after it faced outrage for raiding several gay clubs, taking photos of patrons and conveying that their activities were unlawful. And it's a significant development because it captured the attention of Seattle's LGBTQ community and its supporters. The Washington State Liquor and Cannabis Board announced on Thursday a temporary suspension of its lewd conduct regulation enforcement. This decision comes in response to outrage triggered by recent inspections at LGBTQ plus nightlife venues in the city, inspections that many have compared to the infamous police raids against the Stonewall Inn in New York City. You actually compared that when we had on that episode, Cody,
Mhm.
and they've actually put a halt to it. And if you remember, our co-host Lincoln was saying, well, if it's in the books, it's in the books. If it's the law, it's the law. And instead of whining about it, is what he said, then you should actually be voting on it and bringing it up in legislation. Well, actually, I think the whining worked in this case because the liquor board decided that this was targeting a specific community and they put a halt on it. And I say yes. And it did was reminiscent of Stonewall Inn riots, and it seemed like we were going backwards in time. And so, hooray for Seattle! Hooray for bars like the Eagle in Seattle, that you don't have to worry about this now when you go to the bars. Take off your shirts, put on that jock strap, have a cocktail, and enjoy your sassy ass.
Your gay life. Yes, I love it. Uh, I think this is so amazing. I'm glad that people spoke out about what they saw, the injustices that they saw, and it really goes to show how powerful our voices are. I think that there's nothing more palpable than when people come together for a common cause. They were, I guess, calling the legislature. They were I do agree with Lincoln that, like, there's a law on the books that voting on it is very, how you actually affect change, but I agree with you as well because,
No,
I
no,
think
but can I
that
stop you there?
Go ahead.
Just there was nothing up for vote. This
Mhm,
was if yes, there could have been a situation where there is you aren't allowed to wear certain things, but
mhm,
it hasn't been enacted because there's been no reason to target certain bars and communities. So what I think is the case is that they started rating not one but two specific bars that have a more BDSM lifestyle, and it seemed very targeted. And that's where I think it came into law. In other words, they've had years and years that they could have done this, and it's never been a problem. And all of a sudden, the target seemed to be towards two BDSM type clubs. Why?
mhm.
And I just think there was some bad apples in the law enforcement on that thing that's why they decided to do it. That's my theory, but I don't know.
Okay. Well, I think that the voting part for me came more not necessarily with whatever they were doing as far what law they were upholding, but voting for people that will actually uphold equal rights for all parties involved in Washington State. That was my point. But
Got it.
also with you're the mouthpiece for when you actually are speaking out against injustice, like protesting, things of that nature. I think that that's also a valuable way for us to promote change. And I think that what they did in Washington State was very, very amazing. And I think that we should all take more time to get more involved in the local legislature.
Got it. Yeah, and I just think speak up because media, I think what might seem like whining and listen, if you speak up loudly and the gay press is no big deal. I get so much of the gay press to produce this show twice a
Mhm,
week, and if you're loud and proud about it, the gay press will pick it up. And if there's some legitimacy to it, like two BDSM similar types of bars that are BDSM are both targeted within a certain fraction of period of time
mhm,
for what people are maybe not wearing seems a little suspect. And I think the gay press will pick it up. We're an international show, we get it. And that's why the Washington board got wind of this, of the alcohol beverage companies, and they
mhm.
got wind of it, and that's why they put a halt on it. So sometimes whining does work, and the press is very powerful, and the LGBTQ press is even more powerful. So I say whine all you want, because if we weren't being targeted before with these laws and all of a sudden we are, this seems suspect, and it will go to the gay press, and the gay press is very powerful. So snaps to
Facts.
that.
Facts. And it's definitely something that is prevalent in our community because I feel like we are being targeted because gays not streets have sex in their bars as well. They've had it in restaurants that I've worked at. So sex is going on everywhere. You don't see them raiding their clubs and bars and things of that nature. So yeah.
Love it. Okay, well, switching gears here, we need to shout out to Steve Ostrow. And if you don't know him, you'll want to know who he was. Steve Ostrow was the creator of New York City's legendary Continental Baths. He just died recently at 91. But if you know anything about the Continental Baths, maybe you've heard about them, you'll remember stories like Bette Midler playing at the Continental Baths. And we're talking about Bathhouse. Barry Manilow, who was her pianist, the Manhattan Transfer, one of my favorite groups growing up. People like Melissa Manchester, who I've seen before, amazing. Ostrow was born in Russia, Jewish parents, on September 16th, 1932. He gained early access as an operatic singer and actor. Well, he opened up the Continental Baths of the Ansonio Hotel. It was in the basement of the hotel. It was clean, safe, and it featured a dance floor, a stage where DJs and other musical acts could perform. And he, quote, I built a disco room, a DJ booth, and these special things where you could put the records, turntables. He told The Guardian in 2018, it was spectacular. People would dance in their towels, bathing suits, nude, or anything. Well, it was an immediate success, not just with customers, but also with the performers. And it launched a lot of careers, like I said, Bette Midler and so on and so forth. One of the things that was kind of funny, Cody, to me was that straights started coming in there because they would see this amazing talent, and the gays were like, why do you got to be here in this same space? Pose, the show, Pose, Ryan Murphy's Pose, does a little tribute to the Continental Baths, if you will, later on in the season. I think it's the last season, and Patty LuPone is sort of the purveyor of it all. And you kind of get, if you wanted to kind of get a glimpse of what that would really look like, that would be a really good show to watch. The other thing I could recommend is, I think if you're lucky enough, you might be able to search Bette Midler performing one standout show at the Baths back in the day. Maybe YouTube that,
Really?
and you could kind of see that performance. But it seemed legendary. It seemed amazing. It seemed a time when sexuality and queer nightlife and performance all culminated into this magical place. And we really have this one person to thank for it, and it is Steve Ostrow, who just died at 91. I mean, such a cool story, right?
Oh,
Legacy.
definitely. I had known of Steve Ostrow before we brought up this story, and I did a little deep dive into him, and he's an activist as well. It seems like we lost one of the pioneers that helped push our community forward, and I think that we should just focus on his legacy and mourn the man, and because he's done so many great things for our community. So, thank you so much, Steve.
Love it, love it. Okay. Okay, so recently a Reddit thread went viral. We love these because gay people were confessing all the little secrets straight people don't know about us. And it was a Facebook posting that went really viral. And the recent post, what are some gay secrets straight people don't know? Well, you can imagine thousands of replies poured in. And on the satirical side, one replying that God loves us the most, don't tell,
It's true.
earned over 5,000 likes. Another, you said that's true?
Yes, it is. We
Yeah,
don't have to
I
have
love
kids if
that.
we don't
Yeah.
want to.
Okay. Love it. Another revealed, we really, truly do know each other, all of us. That will be gratifying to the straight folks who ask us, do you know my friend? He's gay too. Another person quipped, brunch is the best church. I could agree with that. While someone else
That.
said, yeah, facts. They know where to get the best Cosmo. You know what? I'm drinking a Cosmo today on this Valentine
Ooh,
special.
give it.
Many others suggested gay people were great for shopping and fashion advice. Someone confirmed that we've known all along. We have an agenda and it's tacos. Really? Tacos? I would agree with that. I'm a taco lover. There's more and more. Do you think that there's really things that straights don't know about us, or there's these little I mean, it's an interesting I mean, probably straight men don't know a lot about us, Cody, and I don't know that I need them to know a lot about us. I have this friend, he's a gym friend in my building that we've been close all along, like we chit chat every time we see each other. I know he's totally straight. We really get along, and I don't I really like him, but I used to have a
Oh,
crush on him, but I got over the
mhm,
crush and now we're just friends.
okay.
But I don't know that I need to tell him certain things like I douche and all those kinds of things. I mean, I don't douche all the time, but I mean, I don't know that, but maybe it would come up. I feel like if I got more comfortable with like today, people, especially in the cities, people are more fluid with their convos and everything. What
Oh,
do you think
yeah.
about this?
Oh, I definitely agree. I think that if you have gay friends, then you definitely know the secrets, but I think the general populace does not know our secrets. I feel like we've even reported on things like bussy and all those types. There's a preoccupation with the word bussy. Like people don't know what it means outside of the gay community. And I think that we have a lot of secrets from the straight community that we haven't shared yet or that they're not privy to unless they are in the LGBTQ, including the allies part of the community.
You know what? Good point, Cody, because so to this, I'm going to give you an example that is so to your point. I think we're much more sex positive. Many of us,
Oh,
not all
yeah.
of us, but many of us are much more sex positive. So, for example, right before we went live, I have two friends, a straight couple, that are going to be staying here at my place for a few days, and they just
Mhm.
flew in, and I got them situated right before we get live, and the guy, I just went to their wedding, which was lovely in Mexico, and the guy said, "We gotta talk about your shower curtain. Break," he said, I think the words were, "We need to break down your shower curtain." And I was thinking like, "Wait, what is he talking about?" Well, my shower curtain is a Tom of Finland huge, it's a beautiful picture of a Tom of Finland image with about 3 or 4 guys that are in very Tom of Finland and feeling each other's bulges, and asses are out, and everything's like perfect and sexy. And I see it every day when I go take a shower, and I go and I get in and I'm in there, but and I've got like Tom of Finland pictures up where someone's taking a huge dick. I've got myself up in another picture where I'm very Tom of Finland in there, where my ass is out. And I think that you sometimes forget about these things because I'm very sex positive. I've got a poster over here when I entered the Mr. Eagle contest and I'm getting flogged in the picture. Sexuality to me mixes in with my family pictures across from me right now and my lovely flowers that I hope to keep alive while I'm away and my crystal over there. And it's just, it's all part of our lifestyle
Your
that maybe
makeup.
a straight person wouldn't, or a straight man might be like, wow.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. I think that something occurred to me while you were talking, and it's that we do have a lot of secrets from the straight community, and maybe that's why it it jars them when they are confronted with it because they have no way to there's no concept of for them to access there's nothing for them to align
Like
with
a
as far
reference
as
point.
exactly, that is the exact word I was looking for. There's no reference, no frame of reference for them to have, access to our lives or to kind of comprehend what we go through as gay people, and that is why they are taken aback when they're confronted with us in our nature. So I think that the key to being more accepted is to share more of ourselves like we do on this show. So I think it's fabulous that we are sharing more of our secrets. I know a secret that's already been out there is eating ass is the way to a man's heart. So I think that if we continue to share more secrets, the better off we will be as a society.
Love it. Yeah, I have a friend that dabbles in this area, but he's fairly on the straight side. And he's like,
Uh-huh.
"You gays, you have all the fun. I wish I could do what you do to women." And I'm like, I mean, we're not doing anything to we're doing everything consensually, just
Yeah,
FYI. Like,
exactly.
we're not doing anything to anybody here. But if it's that the way, don't be jealous.
Don't be jealous of my boogie,
Don't be
okay?
jealous. Yes. Okay. Oh, Ellen wrote, I think straight who's watching us live. Thank you so much, Alice. I think straights think things are more racy than we do. Photos of nude men hanging thongs on the clothes on on the clothesline. I don't think about it, but others think it's shocking. And Bryce wrote, straight people are full of shit. We have to know the intricacies of their lives. Yeah, I think it's
We're
an
inundated.
interesting. Go ahead, Cody.
Oh, I said we're inundated with the lives of straight people. Everything around us is homogenized for straight people. So I think that this is uh, we need to have them to have more access. What were you going to say?
Nothing, just that I mean, I agree with you. I think that, I think thank God we're seeing more media, more artists come out and show it's a beautiful time if you were to come out because we're really at the impetus of seeing so much representation and how sexuality is really a part of our lives. You can have flowers over here and you could have sexuality representative and you can be a sexual being and you can go to the opera tomorrow and you can cook a fine dining meal and run a company and all these kinds of things, and sexuality is still a part of it, and
Mm.
somehow it's really coming into the fruition, I think, now, and it's an exciting time to be around, so I'm here for it. Let's give some advice. And there was one that you wanted to, because we probably only have time for one. And I can't remember, Cody, which one you said you thought was a little bit more of the one you wanted to talk about. But don't take
Mm.
too long because we don't have that much time.
I think that the first one, the boyfriend and the openness of the relationship. That's the one
Okay,
that I'm
yes.
drawn to the most.
Yes, because we've been trying to do this one forever, right, Cody? The
Yes.
boyfriend and I are open. Is that the one?
That's the one.
Okay, yes. Okay, thank you so much. So on a recent Reddit thread, somebody wrote, boyfriend and I are open. He got chlamydia. The issue is condom use. What's next? So they wrote, we are both on PrEP. I'm top. He's bottom, very occasionally tops. I hook up with others maybe once every 2 months. He does it twice as much as I do. Sounds like we're getting some blaming here. I'm not going to lie and say that I always use a condom. I do half of the time. I don't think he ever does. We are pausing or putting a full stop on being open. He engages in riskier sex than I do. He's into BDSM stuff and poppers, like my t shirt. I'm really not. Other open couples do use condoms with. So the question is, other open couples, do you use condoms with others? I did get tested. I'm waiting for my results. You know what, Cody? I like that this person decided to put this up on Reddit and pose the
Me too.
question, but I also feel like they're as guilty as their partner is, and they're parsing out what they think they do, which is almost the same thing as the other one does, but they're parsing it out what they think is, well, I maybe only do it a third of the time than he does, but I still do bareback sometimes. And I only do this, but he does that. It's like, oh, you're doing the same thing he does too. And I think what you really need to do is get on the same page and have a conversation about this. And if you both want to do bareback and that's what you are at right now, you need to be open about that, but not put the blame on somebody else and say, well, you tend to have more bareback sex than I do. I think you need to be open about what your practices are and then agree to go get tested more often than not. So if it's every other week, put that into going to get lunch. I mean, find yourself, we just talked about vending machines that you can get tested off that are going to be hopefully coming our way. Maybe you live by a clinic that is easy breezy to go through. Anyways, the point being is I feel like this person sometimes couples can get into the tit for tat and blame and oh well you do this more than I do that and it gets sexuality should not be blaming somebody for what their preferences are. If you guys chose to do the open route, then you need to accept your openness is going to be a little bit different profile than their openness. And one should not be better than the other one. What you need to do is converse a little bit more and be honest with each other and find a new solution. And if the new solution is getting tested more often, then that's what you need to do. Or maybe there's more, and I hate to use the word boundaries that need to be put into place, but it sounds like this person's doing the same exact same thing as the other one is doing. You say what?
I could not agree with you more. I think that first of all, for this person that posted this, the original poster, to say he's engaging in riskier behavior than me, that is absolutely ridiculous. When you read that, I said to myself, how? I don't understand it. That they're both having risky sex. One doesn't trump the other. And I think that when you also read that he does it twice as much as I do, I detected a little bit of jealousy in there, because for this person to even bring that up, I don't understand where that even came from. The facts are that your partner got chlamydia. You guys are doing the same thing. He might have given it to you, and that is an issue that's the issue that you need to be taken into account if that is your actual problem. Sorry, Doug says that it sounds like there are deeper issues, and I could not agree more. It sounds like they don't need to be in an open relationship. There may not be emotionally mature enough to be in an open relationship. I am not the type of person that can be in that type of relationship. I am one of those tit for tat people in a relationship. I felt a little bit red when you said that. You're laughing because it's true. What were you saying?
I mean, I think that they could be in an open relationship. I think they have different. It sounds like the other one doesn't have a problem with it at all. He's doing
This
okay.
guy does.
But
I think he's jealous.
and the one thing he coming to Reddit and saying that my boyfriend got chlamydia, no one should ever shame anybody for getting an STI because
Yeah.
you could get it. He admitted, the writer of the Reddit thread wrote that he also has engaged in condomless sex before. He could also get chlamydia at any point in time. And it just harkens, that is a trigger point for me because back in the day in Berkeley, I remember, and I think I told it on this show, I met a guy at UC Berkeley and he rammed his dick inside me. And when I was going to go get tested, he's like, "Oh, what do you mean? Do you think that you have HIV?" And I'm like, well, first of all, you maybe should have thought of that before. I didn't have it and I was
Yeah.
going to get tested, but you should have thought of that before you rammed your dick in my ass. And it's like all of a sudden things shift and it's like you're holier than thou than I am, or you're better than I am, because no one's better than anybody else in the game of sexuality. And when it comes to things like STIs, no one gets points or doesn't, none of that. It's all part of participating in sexuality and sex, and it can happen when you open the relationship up. No one should be pointing fingers at anybody else, and what they do need, I think, is a therapist to really break down where they are both at in their open relationship. And I think that would be a little bit more probably positive and a way to go down a path, because the minute you start saying, well, I only do 2% of what you're, 30 for, it's just like you lost me already, because now you're tit for tat. And sorry, Kodi, but it's just, yeah.
It's like, where does that even come from? I'm just so confused as far as why he even brung that up. But
It's
again,
larger issues.
exactly.
Yeah.
Again, it's something else. So look into that, darling.
Let us know what you think. We always want to hear from you. And it's time for, on this Valentine's Day, to do one of our favorite topics, weigh in on Thirst Trap, produced by StraightUpGayPorn.com. And this week, Straight Up Gay Porn is asking which of one of these 17 gay porn stars took the best photo. And it's our job on a primarily auditory podcast to weigh in and describe why we think the one got our favorite vote. And there were so many that I could vote on, starting
Girl.
with Diego Minero
You
from
stole mine, I was
Brazil.
gonna say.
No, he's not mine. I'll let you choose
Okay.
it. But Shane Dixon is is super hot as well, and he could get mine, and I just lost my place here, but here I am. But my ultimate favorite, and I often cheat a little bit because Straight Up Gay Porn does a good job of putting the links on here. I will post this on Tags Podcast. You can just reference episode 541. The one that got mine was Roma Lopez. Roma
Mm.
Lopez is Mexican, and when I clicked on his links, he's in a t-shirt in an office chair, a black t-shirt with his huge, hairy, thick thighs and hairy bush, which I really love on him. So funny, Cody, because I'm going on the Vakaya cruise and I'm a biggie to shave almost everything off of me. I
Mhm.
just think I look better that way. I don't know what it is. But on Roma, that hairy bush on him looks amazing. His thick, beautiful cock and low hanging balls are amazing. And those hairy, thick thighs and thick eyebrows are delicious. He's beautiful. He's sexy. I highly recommend him. And I'm going to vote on him right now. Cody, who do you lust after this week?
All of them. A couple of my favorites, like you mentioned, are Kyle Denton. He's bent over, he's got a jock strap on, he's showing us his hole, he's got these cute glasses on and a t-shirt. Raheem Shabazz will always be on my list. He's on a bed with his cock out and he's just looking so handsome. But we already know who my top pick for the week is. It's Diego Monero. He's standing in front of a window with this beautiful city scene behind him. He's got nothing on but a heart on and a baseball cap. The light
Oh,
is lighting. His face is gorgeous. The dick looks deadly. He has the kind of dick where if it looks like you'll be walking down the street crooked for at least 3 days after you have sex with him.
ooh.
He's just so yummy, and he looks mean and rough, and I like it.
Do
Why
you
do I
know
always go
that
for the mean ones?
finally I picked one that is in number one currently? Roma Lopez is in the first
Oh,
place right now. I can't believe it.
love
So
it.
yeah, but this is like a stellar week of, I mean,
Mhm.
King Louis is delicious. Ricky Hard is also delicious. Louis Jacks is yummy.
Excel
So is
Cowboy,
Poppy
Wonko,
Wanko is, yeah. Oh, I mean,
so hot.
it's it's so many, right?
Yeah, it's like literally all of them.
All of them. It's just like the whole list. Doug says Trevor Harris gets his vote, could jump into that hole. Bryce says Diego Minero for me.
Yeah,
Love it.
he's hot.
Keep voting. Vote when you go to the site because we want to support straight up gay porn. Caladad says Roma Lopez for me. Yes, that was mine. He's number one. But Diego Minero for my boyfriend. Oh, that's a whole
Ooh,
thing too.
sharing
Like,
is caring.
do you fuck the one that you want to be your boyfriend? I hope there's always a hybrid that, you want to fuck
Oh,
who
yeah.
you want your boyfriend to be. So I don't know. Okay. Thank you so much. We wishing everybody a happy Valentine's Day. Thanks for joining us on this Valentine's and being our Valentine. We really appreciate that. I will be on the upcoming Vakaya cruise, Caribbean, setting sail February 17th out of Fort Lauderdale. If you're going to be on that, shoot me a message. I would love to meet you in person. And you can expect some fun social media. I have an OnlyFans that I'm going to collaborate on there too. You can go to onlyfans.com/sexy poppy Steve V and show your love there. You can follow my co-host on Instagram. He's a life coach at KMD Coaching. KMD Coaching. Follow his personal account on Instagram for some really thought pictures at Mr. Maurice. Mr. Maurice. And follow me on the gram. I am _ Steve V. Go to tagspodcast.com for referencing episode 541 and go to my Twitter account, Tags Podcast at Tags Podcast. And everybody, thanks for watching. And in the meantime, continue having hot Gay.
gay sex.
Lovely.